Right, so we have more leaks regarding a ginormous iPad Air in the works, and so let's delve into it. So for those unaware, 9to5Mac and DigiTimes had previously told us we could see a larger iPad Air launch early next year, and now ever-credible Mark Gurman joins in and also corroborates on this. The codenames for the new 10.9-inch and 12.9-inch iPad Air are J507, J508, J537 and J538. And if you're wondering why the heck there's 4 codenames for 2 iPads, it's because each model, of course, comes in a Wi-Fi and cellular version. Now, is it just me or is anyone surprised there's a 12.9-inch model in the works and not a 12.8-inch, considering the smaller Air was given ever so slightly thicker bezels on purpose to differentiate it from the iPad Pro? I thought they would do the same with a bigger size, but I guess not. Maybe because the new OLED iPad Pro is getting a 13-inch display, Apple can now pass down the 12.9-inch size to the Air because the Pro is going to have thinner bezels. But anyways, let's move on. Gurman says we can expect these new iPads to launch around the end of March, which is a lot sooner than I expected, alongside iPadOS 17.4. So while Gurman doesn't specifically say this, I'm guessing we're going to see this launch at the upcoming March event, alongside other releases like the iPad Pro and the MacBook Air. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. Now if you're wondering about any other upgrades with this iPad Air 6, apart from the bigger size, Gurman unfortunately doesn't say much. He seemingly hints at the only upgrade being M2, which is pretty boring, but thankfully Minchiko in the past did tell us some more interesting tidbits. Because apparently we could see some sort of new display on the iPad Air 6. Sort of. So for those hoping for mini LED or OLEDs, we're not getting that here with the iPad Air 6, however there will be a slightly better LCD. Currently the Air has an SI backplane, but the Air 6 could switch to an oxide backplane, which the iPad Pro currently has, so that's great, but I'm not going to pretend like I know what that means. I have no bloody clue, but using the powers of Google, it seems that this will help reduce power consumption, so I'll take it. But if you compare the specs of the iPad Pro 11-inch and the iPad Air right now, there is one big difference apart from 120Hz, and that's 600 nits of brightness. And so I'm gonna bet the iPad Air 6 gets that, as well as Apple Pencil Hover. And I know there's gonna be people shouting in the comments saying Apple better give us 120Hz, or I'm gonna be rioting outside Apple HQ, but I'm sorry to break it to you guys, I don't see that happening anytime soon. By the way, it's not clear if only the larger models getting this LCD upgrades, or if the smaller size gets this as well. Of course, right now with the iPad Pros, you only have mini LED on the bigger size because Apple wants you to spend more cash, and so Tim might do the same thing with the Air range, but considering its minor upgrades to the LCD panel, I doubt that. I think it's better they maintain feature parity. Now I will mention, courtesy of ET News, we could see OLED come to the Air in 2026 for the 10.9-inch size, and 2027 for the 12.9-inch size. It is interesting both sizes could be updated at separate times, but anyways, that time frame does make sense because the iPad Pro is of course adopting OLED in 2024, so it takes a few years for the rest of the range to catch up, though for those wondering if that's going to get 120Hz, unfortunately not. These panels are going to be LTPS, and if you're wondering what that gibberish means, I don't remember right now, but anyways, basically you need LTPO displays for 120Hz, LTPS is the same displays they use on the regular iPhone 15, and I know that's gonna piss off the 120Hz warriors. But anyways, coming back to the iPad Air 6, it is hard for me to get excited about this, to be honest, because I'm still mixed on the idea of a larger iPad. Now I am warming up to it because I am currently testing a 12.9-inch iPad for the first time in my life, and I can understand why people want a mega-sized non-pro iPad. It is very nice to have the extra real estate. However, I do have my reasonings as to why I'm a little cautious. My first reasoning is the fact the iPad range is a mess right now. There are frankly too many options that offer similar features, and introducing yet another iPad is not gonna fix things. If anything, I would rather simplify the range and get rid of some models. You see, I was fine with the 15-inch MacBook Air and the iPhone 15 Plus because there are clear differences between the regular and Pro models, and the lineups are very easy to understand. With the iPad though, considering the software so limited on the Pros anyways, I always found the Air and Pro to be way too similar and there just wasn't enough differences, and so adding a new size option that's even closer in price to the 11-inch iPad Pro is not the right move, Apple. Not the right move at all. Don't get me wrong, guys, I do think introducing a non-Pro large-sized iPad is a good idea, but I think it should be based on the regular iPads and not the iPad Air, because if it was based on the Air, it could be somewhere between $699 to $799, which really isn't affordable if you think about it, and you're likely better off getting a refurbished iPad Pro like I did. However, if it was a larger base iPad, it would be significantly cheaper. But then again, part of the reason Apple gave us a 15-inch MacBook and the 15 Plus in the first place is to upsell you to the Pro models because they are closer in price, and so maybe that's Apple's big game plan with the larger iPad as well, especially since there aren't many reasons to buy an iPad Pro in the first place. Also, you could argue that because the iPad Pros are apparently getting more expensive, and could be something ridiculous like $1299 and $999 respectively for each size, that of course now makes space in the range for a larger iPad Air, but I'll be honest guys, I never bought these rumors. We all know iPads are limited by their software, so why would someone spend more money just because it has a fancy OLED display? Yes, the display is going to be amazing, but I don't think that alone is going to help people justify such a massive price increase, especially when you can get a much better MacBook for that kind of price instead. So I'm still leaning towards not wanting this larger iPad Air to materialize, though I guess without it, Apple has a very still refresh to market. They better give us some fancy colors to get us excited, because as I said earlier, we're only getting M2 and possibly some minor display upgrades, and so this in a way feels similar to the iPhone XS and the iPhone 14, in that the main thing they'll have to market is the new size option, because there's really not much else they can talk about. M2 is not going to be a game-changing upgrade, it's a 2-year-old chip at this point. Also, the M1 iPad Air is already old enough where it's getting significant discounts, and so for the bargain hunters out there, the current Air is absolutely the better deal. Also, if you really want that bigger size, do remember that number one, rumors can be wrong, and so we might not get this, but also for the same price as this hypothetical 12.9-inch iPad Air, you could get an M1 iPad Pro refurbished right now from Apple, which of course is basically brand new, and yeah, you don't get the newest chipset, but as we already know with M2 Max, they're only slightly better performance-wise. M1's still plenty fine for iPadOS, plus you're gaining quad speakers, Face ID, mini LED, and 120Hz. And if I'm being honest guys, the upgrades we would ideally want with the iPad Air anyways already exist with the iPad Pro, which brings me back to my earlier point that there's too much overlap with iPads, and so there really needs to be more differentiation in the range. It's time Apple justifies the Pro branding and gives more expensive iPads more features from macOS for Pro workflows, and that alone should get consumers to upgrade and pay high prices. You don't need to upsell them by introducing new models. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.